Bring it on.
Screen is too small to show our biceps.
You got better bicep surgeons than me. I can't lie. Mine are shit. Yours actually come
Wait.
across.
I have some good lighting here, but my camera will follow me also. So, first podcast in English for me. So, I'm curious how it will go. Welcome, Harrison, on the podcast, on the More Than Fit podcast, but also on the Harrison podcast, because we are doing this podcast together.
Technically, I don't have a podcast, but it's just getting put straight on my YouTube, so I
Yeah,
don't care either way.
yeah, great, man. Great to have you here. Where did we met? Can you tell everybody where we met?
Yeah, so we actually met on a mentorship, and then obviously we stayed in touch. A few of us actually, we actually made a little group chat where we all network. But the main thing is obviously we stayed in contact through the mentorship, and I actually saw your podcast through YouTube when I was looking at some of your YouTube stuff that you was helping me out with, and I thought, you know what, I've always wanted to do a fucking podcast. So this actually is my first ever proper podcast, surprisingly.
Oh,
So
really?
little bit nervous, but
Oh, really? I didn't even know that this was your first podcast.
yeah. First ever, you're taking my podcast virginity, Michael. How does that make you feel?
Oh, that's so cool. Well, you're on my 14th or 15th podcast. So I have some experience with some guests, and I like to invite guests actually, just people who can inspire people who do the same thing that I do, or clients, or just, yeah, I hope people can learn something from my podcast or our podcast. That they can see in our minds, that they can listen to us, and just for inspire, for, yeah, inspiration.
Yeah, it's always good as well. Like people can just watch back at old stuff,
Mhm.
especially as we grow as a coach and we grow our business. It's always to have like long form content of where we used to be, let's say 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, that we can look back and also document as well.
Yeah, it's really cool. Hey, and we both do the same thing because we are both online fitness coaches. Do you call yourself an online fitness coach?
Yeah. So when people ask me like, what do you do for a
Right.
job? I
Yeah.
don't just say I'm a fitness coach. This sounds fucking boring. I
Yeah,
then
right?
actually use. It sounds like, well, they're like, how's that work then? A lot of people, they go up to me and they go, oh, do you do like the online virtual class? I'm like, no. So what I normally do is I tell a little story. I get them involved in the conversation, and I'm like, imagine this, Michael. You come to me, um, you want to lose 10 kilos in 12 weeks, holiday in Spain. Right, you come to me, I'll get you onboarded, I'll get you set up on this plan. At the end of the 12 weeks, you've lost 10 kilos, you're in your swimwear, you got a six pack, you're looking good, everyone's a winner, happy days. That's how I would describe it to people, because it actually sounds exciting. If I just say, well, I'm just like an online personal trainer, they're like, oh, what does that mean?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. And actually, I think that's quite a good one because there's not a name for the thing that we are doing. It's online fitness coach, but it's too general. Because what is an online fitness coach exactly? There are a lot of coaches these days, and everybody, yeah, does it in a different way. But I think when you tell the story, it's more clear what you provide in your service, right?
It's exciting. If you get them involved, like if I'm saying someone asks me and they got a clue, if they get involved in the conversation with you, they're more like to listen because you're making it
Mm.
about them. If I get them involved and it's a story, they're like, oh, I want to find out more about this. Like I've had it before where people are like, sign me up. This sounds cool.
Yeah, yeah. For how long are you doing this already? For how long are you been an
Yeah,
life coach?
January 2023 is when I started my coaching business up. So 2.5 years, somewhat still new, but like not a complete beginner. I've got skin in the game to an extent.
Yeah. Okay, 2.5 years. It's quite a while already. Is it the main gig now?
Yeah, of course. Full
Yeah, of
time
course.
job.
Yeah, I have no clue. I'm just asking. Okay, great. And what is the thing that you learned the most, or what's the most valuable thing that you learned the last 2.5 years? And what did you change most in your program, or what's your way of working? Tell me.
So the most valuable thing I've learned is that in myself, is that in business, or is that just in general?
Sorry,
What would you
sorry,
say?
sorry. Well, no, in terms of coaching, in terms of helping people.
Oh yeah, okay. In terms of coaching, okay, it's a good question. I would probably say that like everyone wants the same thing, but each and everyone's story is different, and each and every person has um, a different plan to get them to where they want to be, but the target's still the same. Right? And understanding once you work with loads and loads of different people, everyone has that same mission of wanting to get better, but each and everyone's journey is different. So you like treating it like everyone's got a different well, everyone that I'm coaching has a different relationship, and some has a slightly different plan. Has made me realize with coaching that it's not just a basic generic meal plan. It's not just like a basic training program. Because if that's the case, AI would take over. It's understanding that each and every client is different, but what they want out of the plan is still somewhat the same. They're all on the same journey, but each and everyone's plan is different. And it's just having more skin in the game has made me realize like how important it is to make sure that that plan is customized towards them, and also like finding out what motivates them, finding out what makes them tick. That way they can actually stay consistent to it over time. Does that make sense?
100%. And I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. What I see also happening is that a lot of people, they want the results, but a lot of times they have no clue what to do for it. Of course, that's why we are there. But they need to do the work. And the work starts with something. And that thing is most of the times, it's really simple. It's really easy. It's not fucking rocket science. And a lot of times I'm
Right.
telling my clients, okay, the most simple things you need to adapt first. But the most simple things are also the easiest things to not do. Just go to sleep half an hour more early. But people will sometimes not do it, right? So, but when you
Yeah.
do that, you can go up more early, you can drink some water, drink some extra water. It's so easy. But especially all these small little things, they compound. And actually, that will give you the results that you want. It's not about work out 5 days a week and have a diet plan like this and all extremes. No, just start with something. And I noticed that
I agree.
yeah.
Karen. Karen.
No, that's the main thing. That's so to hook up with your story about what you have learned. I think that's a thing that I'm noticing also. Yeah, correct.
I think if you can like get that plan, don't overcomplicate the plan straight from the get go, and find something that's very simple to follow. Like if they can build up habits in the first 30 days. After that, like you get your momentum, they get their quick wins. It's a lot easier to sustain consistent results. But what I found is that if you make the plan too unattainable to follow from the get go, well, they're not going to adapt to it. They're not going to get the results they want in that short period of time, which can have a domino effect on how consistent they follow the plan in the next 4, 5, 6 months. So it's just making sure that you nail that first 30 days. That way they can adapt to it quick as possible. And then once they see that they build the habit up and they get the result, it's a lot easier to maintain that consistency over time, if that makes sense.
Yes, 100%. And what happens if they don't book a quick win within the first month? Do you see that the motivation drops down? Or, yeah, sometimes maybe people lie a little bit to you about their training, about the nutrition, or what happens then? Because how do you deal with that?
Yeah, so I've had people lie to me before, and then I call them out. They might lie about the weight dropping, but then I see the pictures. I'm like, how's the weight drop though? So that's when I ask for consistent pictures of the weight across the day. I've been in this game long enough to like kind of call people out in a way where it's like, okay, you're saying that weight's dropped. Okay, let's weigh yourself every morning, send me a picture. What happened then? And it's quite, I think for a lot of people, like they always want the easier way out. I think as humans, we naturally want to do the easiest thing. Like we've evolved wanting to make things easier. If that makes sense. Like we started off walking, then we were like, fuck walking. I want to make a car, not a car, but I want to design the wheel. That way I can get to a journey quicker. That's more efficient. So as humans, we're naturally designed to look at the easiest thing to do, right? So even when it comes down to our fitness, we want to follow the easiest plan. Might want to follow the easiest route of not actually doing the work, and we're naturally like that. But it's understanding that when it comes down to getting into shape, right, it's not fucking easy, but it's simple. right? And that's what the fun part is. It's hard to an extent, but if you have a plan, it's simple. But the enjoyment you get is putting the work in that you've put in, and after in a long term manner, you then see the results in 4, 5, 6 weeks time, if that makes sense. And that's what the good bit is about, because you're like, oh, I put the fucking work in for this. But a lot of people want to go the easiest route, but the easiest route when it comes down to getting the shape isn't the best route most of the time.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. So people need to put in the work, and yeah, of course they want results quickly, but does it always come quickly? The result?
The amount of people that are like, oh, I want to gain 10 kilograms of muscle on my consultation calls in like 4 months. I'm like, and then I got to explain to them like, hey mate, like, I'll be honest with you, would you prefer gaining 10 kilograms of body weight in 4 months and someone having that body fat, or would you prefer gaining 10 kilograms in 12 months and we can do like a nice lean bulk? And any of that, you still somewhat got your abs. What would you prefer? And most of the time, people don't want to go on a calorie surplus and get fat. They want to go on a calorie surplus to gain lean muscle. And most of the time, when I explain that to them, they're like, oh, I'd rather do the longer route. And of course you do. But unfortunately, for a lot of people, they either haven't got a clue or they've been sold some misconception on social media, where it's like, oh, well, this guy did it, so I can do it. I'm like, well, not everything you see in social media is true. And that's probably exactly the same for what you sell, right? These women who are like, oh, I want to lose this amount of weight in this amount of short time, or whatever it is. I'm like, yeah, but we can do that, but is it sustainable and is it realistic?
Yeah. And I think that's a really important question to ask your clients, or to actually tell them. Also, what is realistic to get to in a certain amount of time? Because of course we know, and more often I received clients also, and they want to lose a certain amount of weight, or they want to get in their best shape ever. But I also see where they are now, and then sometimes I'm like, okay, yeah, to be honest, things take time. And of course you are here now, and you're on point A and we want to get to point B, but you want to get to point X in 6 months time. That's impossible. So I think that's also really valuable, that you will always be honest against your clients. Okay, first we need to drop like 8 kilograms of body fat, and then we can see what we work with. And after that, we can, of course, in between, we can also already shape and tone. But first, you need to get loose of all the body fat, right? To see what we are actually working with. And of course, probably you and I can look through that, because you already see the shape of someone. But be honest with what the people can reach in a certain amount of time. So, of course, it's also about not selling them the dream, but letting them see what is possible in a certain amount of time, and eventually, after more time, what is possible at the end. Because, people, it's possible to change yourself, and I think that's the most amazing thing that we do. We change people, and it's not only in the physics that we change them, but eventually how people transform mentally when their body is changing. I think that's amazing what happens. What's the sickest transformation what you have done with a client, and what happened with that client? Can you explain?
Oh, that's a very good question, mate. I've helped guys go from like skinny fat to like you could say jacked. I've got one transformation where the guy literally had skinny fat to then he bulked up and then cut him down to 6% body fat. And this dude's 6'6", and we're talking natural as well. And in the photo shoot that I did for him, he had like an ab vein that went all across his stomach, right? And this is a funny story, to be fair. His then ex-missus messaged him saying, like, you're a scumbag, can't believe you've done roids, completely natural. And he was like, oh, thank you. So I think like, I've had a few clients where I've either got them really skinny to then loads of muscle, which that's a whole like lifestyle change as well. But also skinny fat to like then you can say jacked. When in my opinion, the hardest clients to coach to get into shape is skinny fat guys specifically, because they got to go on a cut first, but the issue is going on the cut first. They've got to completely transform their habits, and the cut isn't as fun the first time because they haven't got a lot of muscle to then show off. So it can seem quite like demoralizing. Like, oh, what's the point? Oh, like, I really want to eat more food. And I'm like, no, like you get past this bit, I think you don't understand. Like the rest of your journey is not easier, but it's way more fun. You go on a bulk, build loads of muscle, and then your next cut, guess what? You can show off what you put on the bulk as long as you don't right. But I think, yeah, in my opinion, taking someone from skinny fat to jacked is what I've done has got to be my best transformations, because you take them from looking like a bag of potatoes to then taking off their shirt at the beach and everyone's fucking looking at them. And that to me is, I love shit like that.
I think that's the main goal of a lot of people. Most people, I think, struggle with too much body fat.
Yeah.
To get at a certain amount of body fat, for guys like around 12% body fat, then you look actually already quite good. Ladies
Yeah.
around, they look good at 22. It depends on the lady, of course, where the fat is, because the distribution is a lot of times more different with ladies, also with guys, but it depends. But ladies around, how much body fat do you recommend for ladies to be jacked, to look good?
Yeah, 20%. I'd say 20% bang
Yeah,
on.
20% range. I always keep it
I've
like
got I've got a female
22.
client.
Then they're already quite sharp, you know. And of course, that depends always on the amount of muscle that you are carrying. Actually, yesterday
Yeah.
evening, I had a friend of mine who was like doing it always at himself. Right now, he's actually quite jacked. He's like around 14% body fat. And he asked me, hey, how to get more jacked? I want to get more this, more that. And I told him also, like, yeah, of course, you can get more jacked, you can get more lean. And he was eating 1800 calories right now for a guy 175 in length. But I was like, yeah, to start with, you need more muscle. You know,
Mm.
and that's always the thing, and that's the thing that I had for years also. Always under eating, always want to maintain the six pack, but never really growing. So eventually, over time, after years, nothing happened. I always stayed at like 70, 71, 72, 72 kilograms. But when you start eating, and when you stay in a certain range of food, that you stay jacked, eat enough to also gain muscle. And yeah, for the men, gain muscle sounds great, but for the ladies need to gain muscle also. Everything is muscle. Without muscle, you're nothing. Muscle brings you a
Yeah.
strong body. Muscle is everything. And when you eventually have more muscle, you can be at a higher weight, look better, and even be less jacked, but still look good, because the muscle will punch to the skin and you just look good.
What's your biggest barrier then? Obviously, you coach with females, right? And I've coached females before, and obviously, I've coached females where I've actually put them on a surplus, and that's at the start. They're like, if I get fat, then we do the surplus, and it's one of the best things they could have ever done, because not only do they not get fat, surprisingly, as long as you eat in a small surplus, but it completely transformed their physique. And like you said, when you have more muscle, you have a faster metabolism, you burn more calories at a resting rate. So then when you cut down, you can then show off your curves, but not only that, you have more flexibility of food. And it's just switching that female's mindset into like, this is a beneficial thing for you. So how do you obviously overcome that with your clients?
Yeah, you already told. Yeah, most of my clients are ladies. Still till this day, I have no clue why. Seriously, in a sort of way, the ladies picked me. Because if I look at my statistics on Instagram, it's like, yeah, it changed a little bit. It was 80-20, so 80% ladies. Now it's 75% ladies. But yeah, in general, I don't post. Yeah, nowadays I don't post any more chest exercises or less, because it's so much ladies. And of course, yeah, you want to make some content for your audience also. So it's really
Yeah.
funny. But yeah, the ladies picked me, so that's why I changed my program with that, and my content and everything I do a little bit, because I've been chosen by the ladies in a sort of way. It's funny.
The chosen one, the chosen one.
Yeah, it's funny. Maybe it's because I do something that attracts the ladies. Um, but your question was the biggest struggle they had, or the biggest issue
So
with
like put them on
eating
a
more food?
surplus. A lot of ladies want to just lose loads of weight, but obviously toning up, there has to be some form of calorie surplus in there as well to build the muscle to tone up with. So how would you get them past that like barrier of like, okay, like we need to, so some ladies, we need to actually now go into a surplus to then look even better, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. especially the ladies. Um, especially the ladies are a lot of times are a little bit afraid of the scale going up,
Yeah,
and that's why I think it's important for a lot of ladies to know that the scale is not your enemy. The scale is just you, beautiful you, your body, your everything on a plate with a number on it. And when they're on their period, the scale goes up. It happens. But when it's warm outside, the scale goes up. When you had dinner, when you had a late dinner, the scale goes up. The scale is just a number, and a lot of ladies hold on to a certain number once in their life that they were like at their best, and that's the number that they always remember. It's 60 kilograms, but now they're always like 62, 63, and a few fat. But I always say, okay, but can you imagine that weighing maybe 62, 63, 64, but even look better than before? And that's, of course, when you build some muscle, when you gain 1 kilogram of muscle or whatsoever, of course, on the glutes, on the legs, or what they want. And but to get that scale up, to get them comfortable with their weight going up, it is hard, especially for ladies. I think guys are more easy with that. Guys is like, yeah, I need to gain. Okay, we're going to gain, right? It's all good. Let's gain. But ladies, of course, yeah, they all want a flat stomach and they all want big glutes. So it's
yeah,
it's it's different. But that's why I think it's really important to have to take photos on a regular base. Maybe do how to call it skin measurement.
yeah. I would get my females to do like waist hip circumference. That
Yeah,
always helps as well.
yeah, I do that myself also. It depends on the client, but that's really important, of course, to keep up with the metrics, because actually I had a lady recently in coaching, and she was quite scared for the scale. And when she was like a machine, man. She was eating like she was like jacked like hell. She had like 16% body fat, so she was jacked like hell. But
Lean, yeah,
always.
yeah,
That was her standard. And she had an amazing shape. But when the scale went up like 1 kilogram, she felt fat and she was not happy in her body. And I was like, okay, chill out. Okay, we're gonna drop the calories again. But she was eating like 2,800 calories for a lady. She was 170. She was not that tall.
yeah, yeah.
2,800 calories, and she was just on maintenance for a lady. That's quite sick, but she had a quite
Well,
high non-exercise activity. She was like quite busy all day long, so I think that provided all the food that she could manage. But eventually, yeah, we needed to upgrade the food, because I told her, you are so jacked already, and this is your maintenance, so you need to eat a little bit more. So let's go to 3,000, and change the macro ratio a little bit, because she was eating more protein than I did.
no, that's the wrong thing I see with people on the bulk, right? Is it's a good point where I was actually eating a lot of protein to the point where I'm like, I don't need this much protein, and protein is satiating as fuck. Like most protein sources, right? So if you're smashing for, I used to smash with 260 plus grams, right? And I'm like, if I'm going to go into a surplus and if I want to push food high, I actually need to drop that slightly and then get obviously still get protein, but you can also get protein from like or incomplete sources from like rice, for example, sourdough bread. So using stuff like that to help with in terms of the calories, because I can bosh through loads of sourdough bread like it's nothing, but can I bosh through 300 grams of chicken with my fucking rice? It would be more difficult. So
Yeah,
that also there's a very point, mate, because sometimes like people want protein, protein, protein. Yes, protein is important, but sometimes in certain situations you can actually consume too much protein than you actually fucking need.
yeah. Well, especially with ladies, yeah, too much. Well, to finish your story, yeah, too much protein. There's an amount of protein, and if you eat more, you will not gain more muscle, right? You just need
No,
enough protein to gain all the muscle you want. But yeah, if you need more calories, I always say eat more fats, because fats are healthy for you. Protein is good for you, of course. Eat enough, eat quality protein, not only from grains or from rice or from pasta, but all the amino acids that you need for your body and for cell renewal, etc. Um, but fats are one, and of course, fats have the bad name because you will get fats from fats, but that's not story, right? And I think everybody who is listening to the podcast, I hope they know you will not gain body fat from fat. You will gain body fat from eating too much calories. That's
Yes,
really
100%.
important.
And also as well, a lot of fats contain obviously can a lot of dietary fats help with hormone production. So if you've got a female who is not on a lot of food, find that maybe the hormones are getting spewed slightly, actually increasing them fats, especially when calories are quite low, is quite beneficial to your hormones. There's also another good side to that as well.
Correct. I have a few trainings about macronutrients, and you need protein for a lot of things. You need fats for a lot of things to stay healthy. You don't need carbohydrates. From an health perspective, I think that's the right word. From health perspective, you don't need carbs because if we don't eat carbs, you get in ketose, and then your body sorts out, and eventually it starts using fats for energy. Right? Your body, it's all your body regulates that all by itself. So, but the thing is, we all eat too much carbs because carbs are so nice. Everybody loves to eat carbs, carbs and fats. That's the sources of macronutrients everybody likes because they're for free, they're really cheap, and they're nice. Ice cream.
Here's a question, Michael.
Yeah.
Here's a question, Michael. Have you had any like females before follow some like ridiculously crazy diets, and then you've got on the call with them, and you've like found out what they've ate on the call, and you're like, what? Like some ridiculously crazy diets. I know that could be trendy for type of, well, not trendy, but that can be a problem for your type of ICAs, like ridiculously crazy diets that think they're going to get them the shape they want.
Not ladies, but I had a guy like a year ago or 1.5 year ago in my program, and of course I learned them how to eat flexible, right? Because then you can maintain the rest of your life. You need to know what macronutrients are. I need to know how to deal with it. But if you know the term, of course, flexible dieting, then probably you know the term if it fits your macros, IFFYM. So yeah, if it fits your macros, right? Yeah, that's possible. That's possible. Back in the days, I was also like eating like if it fits your macros, but now I'm more in terms of eating more whole foods or more nutrients dense foods because I know it's important because there's everything is made, everything is shit, everything's processed to the max. It's okay a little bit because it's 2025, we cannot avoid it. But the guy, he actually, yeah, he stayed within his macro range. But what was he eating? You have these little bottles here in the Netherlands, and it on the bottle says this is food.
Like
You know the bottle?
fuel shakes, yeah.
Yeah, this is food, and one bottle is like half a liter. It's like 500 calories, and it's like it was his dinner. It was just a bottle. It's called "This is food." It's so strange, and I'm like,
I might have seen that. I might
this
have
is
seen that
this
to be
this is in
fair.
the supermarket. This is food. It's exactly 500 calories, and it's stuffed with all good micronutrients, and macros are quite fine actually. But I'm like, yeah, okay, but here, this is where I think things go wrong a little bit also because if you work with if it fits your macros, it's like okay, yeah, I'm eating 2,500 calories, yeah, 2 bottles of this, 2 Snickers, and 2 protein shakes. Yeah, then you will hit the 2,500 calories, but then you will miss a lot of micronutrients in your diet, and also the sensation of eating food, the sensation of sitting down with a spoon or a knife or a fork and just have the experience of eating. And I know, especially because I work with ladies, it's important to have the experience of eating a meal because it brings saturation also for your mind. Eating is not only food in your stomach and a signal, hey, I'm full. It's also the experience of having dinner.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It creates a good relationship with food, and that's something that obviously I find with females more is they have a very bad relationship with food. Either like despise certain foods or they binge certain foods, or they have one day where they massively overeat, and then they have like a week of like massively undereating, and they never have like consistent meal timings. They never really follow a consistent routine of nutrition, which again can massively affect loads of different issues, loads of different like hormones, energy levels, micronutrients. So again, you talk there, the micronutrients. People forget like how important the micronutrients are for your immune system.
One sec, I receive a notification that your is not being recorded. Oh shit.
Going to do my storage space. There isn't enough apparently.
Do you receive a notification or not? It's all good.
I did, yes. But
I just press on OK and I hope everything is fine. Yeah, well, for everybody who is looking and listening, this is the first time that we actually record a podcast on Riverside because you're my first UK guest. You're my first, English. You're my first podcast that I do in English. And it's the first podcast that I do digitally because all my guests came over or I went to them or whatsoever. But it's also the first time that we do it with Riverside. So it's all new. We wanted to do it with Zoom, but we spoke about it and we decided, no, we're going to play on Riverside. So I'm really curious because how is my screen here, Harrison? Is it okay? Because you are looking blurry all the time.
So your screen is recording. I don't think mine is. I don't think. You see the top red button?
The top oh yeah, maybe you don't have screen.
Let me just check something.
Oh yeah, I see mine is recording. Mine is giving a small little red recording thing. Wait, when I press this, what happens? Oh, now your camera's off. And now your camera's on again. So probably we have a podcast without you being recorded on screen. Is that possible, you think?
Right.
Maybe.
I don't know why it's telling me about low
That would be interesting. Well, okay, let's just finish this podcast, or else maybe it's gonna be an audio only podcast on Spotify, right?
Yeah, we'll tell you what. We'll leave it here. We'll just leave it here and see how it goes. We've done half an hour anyway. If I've been
We done half an hour. We just finished it, and we will see later. That's how the world works, guys. You just press play, look what happens, and eventually you need to solve the problems on the way. That's it.
Good lesson there, mate. We could have not done this.
Okay, but where were we? Because now I lost. Now I lost the conversation.
Micronutrients. The importance of micronutrients.
Important of micronutrients. I was telling about my client about the scale that went up, and that it's for a lot of ladies it's a thing when the scale goes up. So they need to get comfortable with that. Micronutrients, it's important. Oh yeah, and the guy who was drinking the bottles of This Is Food. Yeah, so eventually it was hard to get him off of that because it was one of his habits. He made a habit out of it, of eating things from gas stations, etc. So I told him also, okay, here's like so many openings, so many ways of eating more whole foods, more nutrients dense foods, that it's easy for you because there are so many suppliers also these days that will give you really nice meals. Because back in 1980s, 1990, I think it was a hype that all the food, the prep meals were in the supermarket, right? And they're still there, but they're really crappy. The quality is so low. It's like highly processed foods. They're good for like a month. You put them in a microwave. But these days, they made a transition and you have the same meals, but then high quality, without any processed shit in it, without any conservation, etc. So it's so easy for 6 or 7 euros. You can get really high quality meals. Do you know the website musclemeat.com or .nl?
Nah, so I use a meal prep company. That's what I've been using. It saves me a bit of time. I can cook. Like I'm not like people who've never cooked. Right? I've been cooking for 2 years, but like I got to the point where it's like I've got a bit of extra money to spend on meal prep, and someone's going to make my food for me, and it's probably going to taste a bit better.
Yeah,
Why
yeah.
fucking not? And the meals are great. I mean, they're not like shitty meals. Like, and some of the meals I can for sure say they taste better than how I cook it. I don't know. Maybe it's because someone else cooked it for me. Do you know when someone's made food for you, it always tastes better than your own food. However, obviously having someone there to then send me across meals and I can just have that for the whole week, it saves me so much time.
Oh, so you do use the meal prep daily yourself?
Yeah, yeah. I used to cook it all, but I find it does just save me time.
Yeah.
And also, I hate fucking cooking. And I've got the spare money to do it. I'm gonna pay someone to cook for me and
Yeah.
just send me the
Okay.
whole
Okay.
prep.
Okay. But it's just a prep meals that you buy with the macronutrients on it, etc.
Yeah, yeah. So obviously, I would specifically choose the meals to how I would like it. But I would look at the meals, see what the macros go with macros. I've got a meal plan with a coach, but with my coach, I spoke to him. I'm in my off season, so it doesn't really matter too much as long as it basically is somewhat similar to the plan. I'm okay. So if I match the macros with the meal prep company, that should be fine. Obviously, when I start prep, I'll go back to cooking because everything needs to be precise.
Yeah.
For now, in the off season, I'm like, yeah, I'm getting a little bit lazy. That's all it is. I'll make some pay someone to do the cooking for me. Happy fucking days.
Yeah, it is where you want to spend your time on, of course. And it's the meals these days are so cheap. Food is like, if people say food is expensive, you don't know where to look for, because all the meal prep meals, high quality meals in the fridge, or just fresh, it's like 6 or 7 euros, and you have a high quality meal. Yeah, the Burger King, it's more expensive, and yet even cooking sometimes can be more expensive. You can have some really proper meals for not that much money. So, hey, tell me, Harrison, because you're tattooed, big guy, dark brown voice. What guy? Yeah, got some. Yeah, when I change, here's my.
Yeah, go
Finally I have a bicep on screen also. What kind of customers do you coach mainly?
Yeah, about 70% men, 30% female.
30,
Surprisingly, they're all similar.
30% female.
Yeah, I've got some
Do
girls in there.
ladies come to you?
Yeah, I've got some killer females, mate. I've got
Really?
some killer females. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm prepping a guy right now for a photo shoot. She's fucking ripped. She's got ab veins. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah,
Okay, so the ladies who come to you, of course, yeah, I'm making this up, but they don't come to you to lose 10 kilograms of body fat. They come to you maybe for competition prep or something.
I don't do competition prep for photo shoot prep. Um,
Yeah. Okay. So yeah.
and also I've got some where they need to lose a lot of weight, but they've they understand that obviously this takes time. And I've actually got some females that, like, it's not 10 kilos in 10 weeks. They want like a complete physique change, if that makes sense. They don't want to lose 10 kilos in 10 weeks for holiday. They want to completely change their physique like massively over time. It's not like a short term fix. So a lot of the females that I have, they either they want to do like the photo shoot stuff, or they understand that this is going to be a long term fix, and they want to stay with me for a long period of time and achieve that like hourglass, like toned, muscular figure, if that makes sense. That a lot of girls wish they want.
And the guys that your male clients, what do they? No, 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 no. Let me reframe the question. What is your specialty? What do you like to do the most? Do you like to coach the guys or the girls more in a sort of way, or what is your specialty? Is it like, yeah, what do you do? What do you like to do the most? What kind of
Yeah, so
transformation?
I think there's a difference of like what I'm the best at and what I enjoy. I think I enjoy anything that involves a deadline date. So like anything that involves like a photo shoot or like a holiday where there's like, this is the goal, it's set. This is the goal. This is how much weight we're going to lose. I would probably specialize in what I'm best at is definitely like the muscle building side of things. Like some of my best transformations have been like long periods of time of like long consistent bulk, where we've, instead of like putting my clients on like a dirty bulk, which if any coach does that, they're a fucking scumbag, is getting them lean first, right? And then doing a long bulk where basically a lean bulk where we build up the calories over time. And at the end of the 6th, 8th, 10th month, they have completely changed their physique massively because they've, number one, got lean enough to do so, but number two, they trusted the overeat, and understanding that this takes time, if that makes sense. So I definitely specialize in the muscle gaining side of things, but what I like enjoy, what gets me fired, when I go on that check-in, I'm like looking forward to it. It's got to be anything with like a deadline date on it, photo shoot specifically, or even a holiday, because I know they're thinking about that going ahead, and I know how important it is for them. So it's like, right, there's more enjoyment, but I get involved in their journey. I'm like in it with them, if that makes sense. As invested into their goal because I understand like there's a deadline date to it. And I understand how important is it for them to achieve it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's the best thing. I think in terms of marketing and sales, the best thing you can do is sell photo shoot,
Oh
because
no,
there is
no.
and yeah, a photo shoot, or maybe like an or like a contest prep, because
Yeah, so I've done also what sells as well. Sorry to interrupt you. Is I've just finished off a 16-week challenge with someone, and that also sells as well because then obviously everyone's competing for this challenge. I enjoy it as well because everyone's like, oh, who's going to win the prize? But I've also had some great transformations as well from a 16-week challenge as well, because again, it has that same like emphasis of like there's a prize at the end of it, there's a deadline day, you've got to get in, like whoever gets in the best shape wins. Do you know what I mean? So there's that competitivity to it that makes it fun, if that makes sense. So yeah, I think like challenge always does well for me, and also like photo shoot preps or even like holiday preps. If I can get a picture of someone on holiday with six pack, right, done. Or someone like if I can take like someone from like skinny fat to jacked on a photo shoot, done. Like that sells 100%.
yeah, I think that's also because there's an end date. There's a date
Yeah, that's it.
that you work to. Same as when people get to a wedding, there's a date and you work, when the day will come, and then you need to be on your best, and then you will do everything for that specific date. And especially when you have really like an end date, when you have a goal to go to, for example, a photo shoot, then you have a reason because you need to put in the work. The photo shoot is booked. The
I know, you paid the
competition
money for it.
date is there. You need to be shredded on stage. So that's why I think that brings the most out of people when they have a goal like that. Actually, it's a nice thing. Maybe I need to put it in my program.
It works. I always set up goals. Like obviously, with some people, there's like I always set up like 6 to 12 month goals. But if they've came to me for a holiday or like a photo shoot or anything like that, like I can specifically put on their calendar, this is the day of your shoot, and I can put a timer on it as well. So every time they click on the app, photo shoot prep timer. So it's like a reminder, right? But it's also that sense of urgency as well. Like you paid for the holiday, you paid for the shoot. You can't fucking waste it. And I remember when I done my shoot myself, like I lost a ridiculous amount of weight. I got shredded at the end of it. Having that type of urgency and like knowing what it's like, so I can relate to them, also massively helps because I've been through it myself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's a good thing, and I think most people go the best on on to have an end goal, to know exactly where they're going to, then and what they need to do, etc. Yeah, it's important. You had some questions for me still.
Yeah, I'd say what's the biggest issues you faced actually? Do you know what? Maybe a little more about you. What's the biggest issues that you faced in your fitness journey since you first started?
The biggest issues that I faced.
Yeah,
Oh,
biggest barriers you've got to overcome. I don't know how long you've been training for. I'm guessing you've been training for a
my
good amount of
my
time.
myself, or in terms of coaching?
Yeah, yourself. Like, and then we can talk about the biggest issues your clients have
Oh,
faced.
myself. Okay, that's interesting. Well, actually, which what date is it? I'm gonna check it right now, because
19th
actually,
of July. No, June. Sorry.
yeah, it's June. No, actually, this month, 2 years ago, I'm gonna check the date. I think it's exactly this date. That would be really sick. If it's this date, it's really sick. 20. Oh no, it's July. 23rd of July, 2023. I was on this hospital bed.
Ah,
I was the most jacked that I was in years. I look
yeah.
like this. I look like this. I was looking quite
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and then I crashed. I
And
crashed.
was
I
it a
had a
car crash?
motorcycle accident. I drive on track. I
Yeah,
do
yeah,
some races, etc. In the Kings division in the Dutch Championships, and I was on a training in Belgium on a track that I have driven once before. Well, first session, second or third round, like 9 a.m. in the morning, boom! I crashed and I broke my collarbone. You can
yeah,
actually see the plate on there
yeah,
here.
yeah.
So I broke my collarbone, but I also broke my whole scapula, my shoulder blade. Was completely torn down, and it's still completely torn down, completely. But it's grown together in a fine way. Okay, so that happened, and yeah, after that I couldn't do anything for months. I was at home for months. I could barely go to the toilet and take shower myself, but that was it. So and after that, yeah, of course, I was jacked as hell and I looked amazing. But after a few months of doing nothing, yeah, things completely went to the floor, right? So after that, I needed to come back, and in my head, not succeeding, not coming back was impossible. From the moment 2 weeks after the accident, I was already like, okay, how am I coming back in the best way possible ever? So and I seriously think that I healed myself also because of my thoughts, because not succeeding again was impossible. Well, yeah, 1 year later, I stepped on stage and I won the goddamn contest in the men's
Oh,
figure
let's go.
IFBB.
Let's
One,
go.
1 year later. 1 year
Let's
later, I
go.
just stepped on stage twice in one weekend, and the second show, I won the show. So
Fucking
that
go,
was
man.
one thing. That was one journey for me also of like, okay, fuck it. I have a goal. I need to come back. I lead by example. I am Mr. More Than Fit. And yeah, coming back after that accident, I still know that I was at the doctor's place after 6 or 8 weeks. And I was like, my whole shoulder was stuck because I couldn't move, etc. for
Yeah,
weeks.
yeah.
And eventually I went to the doctor again, and he said after 2 months or so, 2.5 months, he said, "What can you do again?" And I was like, and I was throwing my arm in the air, and he was like, and I saw him looking, he was like, "Oh, oh," and I was like, "Yeah, of course." Yeah, and he was seriously looking at me. Okay, that's really fast. You heal quite fast. And I'm like, yeah, of course I heal fast. I'm not a normal guy. I work
Yeah,
every day on my body to get better. It's not like that I go to the physiotherapist once or twice a week. No, I did it 3 times a week for a fucking hour, and I went to the gym every day to train lower body, to do the cardio, to train my right side.
yeah,
I
yeah.
did it, and people stay at home when they have an injury on their pink, so they cannot work out. Fuck it, I did everything I did except for my left shoulder. And yes, still my left side is a little bit, nobody sees it, but I see it on the pictures. But this side is still a little bit smaller. It's stronger now, but this side is bigger.
You're
So
like
that
one
was
shoulder flat. Like that's when you get pictures and stuff. You got like the only shoulder.
No, so that was a period of that was a down period for me, but also actually there's always a period in everybody's life after a relationship or after an accident. It needs to happen at bad times, needs to happen for change. And it changed me a lot. It changed me a lot. Without that accident, we would not be sitting here. Because in that period, in that months of time that I couldn't do shit, I actually started writing my programs, and I started More Than Fit till the point where I am now. I already did some things on the socials, but never in a serious way. And it all, yeah, like 2 years later, 23 months later, I'm here recording a podcast with you. So yeah, that was a strange period in my life, but it gave me a lot of joy and fulfillment eventually.
It's a good. But tell you what, mate, you need to share that backstory more. Because I don't see it enough on your account. Because
No.
that's cool fucking backstory. I'll tell you that, mate.
Actually, okay, because next month, because like in like 5 weeks is like 2 years ago. So
Please go. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay, so we have some new inspiration for reels right now, right?
Bro, yes.
What about you, man? Because I know a little bit about your backstory, and I know it's not. Tell us about your backstory.
Yeah. It's all good. I'm quite
Actually,
autonomous. If you got someone,
actually, Harris. Sorry to interrupt. It's actually funny because normally you start a podcast with these questions, and we end the
I know. We just get straight into it. Yeah. So my backstory is so from about 14 to 18 years old, I got into the wrong crowd. I was the school drug dealer, as you would say. I got banned from prom in the first month. I got banned from any after prom because they knew I had to sell drugs. I ended up I made a good amount of money. Like we're talking buying Armani watches. I'd go to hotels, buy my boys. Used to stay like free hotels, then go out on nights in certain places in the UK, and then it was all fun. Um, but then I got addicted to cocaine, so I started selling cocaine. Got addicted to that. Then that led me down a very, 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 very bad path. Where then I owed people a lot of money. COVID happened, and COVID happened. Everyone was locked away in the house. I owed people loads of money, and it gave me time to ask myself, what do I want? Because for like 4 years, I was, I was doing it for the thrill, but also at the same time, I was doing it for the validation of other people. I was doing it to try to get respect for other people. But deep inside, it's because I hated myself. So I had this like need to like get validation of other people for trying to beat people up or trying to sell drugs. But deep inside, it's because I was unhappy with me. So I had to seek that validation to other people. So when I had time to, obviously, I've got debt, like big amount of debt. I had people loads of money. Obviously, COVID hit, and I'm locked away in my house. It gave me time to ask myself, like, what do I want? What makes me happy? Because the whole time I haven't been doing it to make me own happy. I've been doing it to try get validation of other people in my area. So that's when I obviously started training every day. I got myself, I actually passed my driving test because I was 18 at the time. I passed my driving test 2 weeks out of the COVID, of obviously the COVID-19 lockdowns. And this is when I was going for a big like coke bender as well. So I don't know how the fuck I'd done that. Like, I don't know how the fuck I'd done that, but I passed my test. And then obviously when it was lockdown, I managed to still go out and get a job. I went to hospital. And then what I was doing with like my spare money that I'd get, I would then just buy extra bits from the shop. That's my dog you can hear. I'd then buy extra bits from the shop, extra bits of protein. I'd start working out at home, doing dumbbells, pull-up bars, just using what I had as you would do normally. And most people, when it comes down to lockdown, they'd get pissed all the time, they'd eat shit, they'd get bored. But for me, I had that time away where it's like locked away to then do my own thing. So then I was coming back after each lockdown stronger. I was coming back hitting PRs because I was just making do with what I had at home. I still had stuff, like it wasn't like I didn't have like loads of shit, but I made do with what I had. And each lockdown I came back stronger. And then 3 years down the line, 3 years down the line from COVID, because it was about 5 years ago now. 3 years down the line from COVID, what happened is then I got a job at the gym, and then I was doing like leisure centre work here and there, and then I tried going for the higher fitness instructor role, and they wouldn't give me the job. I tried going for it again, they wouldn't give me the job, and they gave it somebody with more experience. And I just thought, when I was working at the gym at the time, I just thought, fuck this, I'm better than everyone in this room. I know I've got more skills than everyone in this room. And I'm not waiting about for a £200 a month pay rise. I'm not waiting for another year or 6 more of it is right. So now I was like, fuck this, I'm going to start my own thing. And obviously 10 months down the line, I was then in a position to then leave that job and then obviously pursue online coaching full time. And obviously now we are here on a podcast and we're having a conversation. 5 years into COVID, 2 years of me starting this business, and obviously now I'm in the position to help hundreds of people out get in good shape. That's my story.
Cool, man. Wow, that's quite a shift in lifestyle and mindset. But what did you change when you
The first thing is
when
compassion.
you started working out, etc.? What changed?
The environment.
The
I
environment.
promise you, with a lot of people who are watching this, if you're struggling with like going back into bad habits, if you're stuck into following your routine or going out on the weekend doing stuff you shouldn't do, it all comes down to your environment. And it talks about this in the book Atomic Habits, where a lot of the American soldiers, when they used to go out to the Philippines, they used to get addicted to opioid. How do you say it? The opioids, right? And basically, there's addicted to the opioids when there's out in the war. They came back to America. Over 50% of them actually became clean. even though they was like massively addicted. Why? Is because they changed their environment. This is in the 70s, by the way. So they came back, went back to their wives, went back to their, obviously their hometown, and a lot of them come clean because all they did was change their environment. So if there's any of you who are watching this who keep on going back into your old bad habits, you need to ask yourself in the mirror, like, are these people around me, are they actually pushing me close towards my goals, or are they pushing me far away? Because most of the time, if you fix your environment, you will fix your habits, and I can guarantee that 100%.
I completely agree. I have a small little example also. I went to Dubai 2 years ago, and normally when I'm on vacation, also I would like a beer or wine or whatsoever. You know, you're on vacation, it's different. End of the day, you feel good, different energy, different vibes, sun's out. You have a drink. I can have a drink also daily. I don't mind. But when you're in Dubai, you cannot buy drinks everywhere. It's, you need to be at a certain beach club or a certain whatsoever. So and eventually the whole week we had like 2 or 3 drinks. So because of the environment doesn't provide us alcohol, but there was also no need. I had the best vacation ever because I didn't have hangovers. I didn't feel shit. I woke up every day early. I went to the gym every day in the hotel. So it was one of the best vacations ever because I was fresh, I was clear, I was clean. So the environment 100% does something for you and does something with you. And yeah, I know that. And especially, for example, maybe some clients or maybe people who are listening or watching.
Sorry, see
Just
my talk.
just like you said, ask yourself, yeah, are the people around me who are, yeah, are they my friends or are they my friends because we drink alcohol and eat food and have snacks every weekend and whatsoever? And do they, yeah, are they still in line with with my core values that I want? If you want to be fit, if you want to change, if you want to change, you cannot change yourself and change your life and change your habits and keep doing the same thing that you are doing right now. And a lot of times you need to change your habits. So therefore you need to change your environment a little bit, change your friends sometimes, change your way of thinking about food, about friendship, about whatever you want, if you want to change. And that's change. And change is hard for people.
It's not an overnight process. Like, and then I think if you obviously want to do something like us, and even just getting into really good shape, there will be like a period of your life where it will feel quite lonely because like to get into great shape, what it takes is like you will have to stay in some weekends. That just depends on what goals you want specifically. Obviously, I've got clients who I'd say they're more the advanced clients. And what's good about obviously my coaching and my community, is the people who are quite advanced. It can get quite lonely because sometimes you have to say no. Sometimes you won't go out. Sometimes you will have to stay the weekend, if that makes sense. If you want to get to a certain goal, and then having that community of people who are similar to that, even like what we're doing, like the mentorship and obviously staying in touch, it fuck me does it help. It makes you realize, oh, there's people actually out there in this world that are like me. Because obviously, when you live in your normal hometown, not many people think like you. Everyone is in that same mindset of like, go out on the weekend, get pissed, get some Monday, hate their life. And it's that same repetitive cycle. But obviously, having that time to then socialize or get in contact with people who are on that same path makes you realize, it does make you open up, and also makes you realize, oh, there is people out there who actually are somewhat like me.
Yeah. There are a lot of people like us, but you need to find them.
That's it.
And they are there and they live around the corner, but you don't know them.
That's
You
it.
need to,
Or it's one button away on your phone. But again, this is, I always say, right, your mobile device is either the most destructive or the most powerful tool you can use. And like what we're using it is, we're using it as at a benefit. But some people use it as their downfall. Scroll on TikTok all the time, say they ain't got the time. I can't get to the gym, I ain't got time. But I bet you if I looked at their screen time, it'd be 5 hours on TikTok per day.
it,
So
it,
again,
it,
like
it's the easy route.
easy,
Easy
right? That's it.
route, less resistance, instant gratification. All
So
these
you're,
things, yeah.
yeah,
Okay, yeah. People need to focus more on themselves. People need to put themselves on the first place. And people need to say no. And if you do that, it will get lonely. But eventually, you will come in onto a podcast with Harrison and Michael.
It all depends on your goals, isn't it? Like I've got some clients who they like the flexibility in the weekend, so I can allow that. But if they want like this precise goal, if they want to get to a certain level in terms of their journey, like I've got to make things clear. Of like, if you want to get to there has to be some form of sacrifice. Exactly.
You have to sacrifice. There's always a There's always a sacrifice,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's of course. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, again, change is one of the hardest things, and a lot of times, just like I said before, change will happen after a period of downfall, after a period of a breakup, or an accident. It happened to me 2 or 3 times, and so sometimes nowadays I feel like, okay, I hope something terrible is going to change. It's going to
You need that
happen.
motivation.
So because I know afterwards things will get amazing again or better or whatsoever. Because
Yeah.
well, I think because we're doing this podcast right now, starting new things for people. People always want tips in the podcast. Of course, they listen to us. They sometimes they looking for inspiration. Try new things. Speak with your neighbor. Send a message. Send a DM. Just be friendly. Be kind. And most of the times, and look for openings. Look for, because it's never, we don't get any chances. We took the chances because chances come by all day long, but you need to grab them. You need to see them. You need to grab them, accept them, and be open for the change, for the new things that are coming on your way.
I think as well when it comes to the gym, right? Like you see all this stuff on social media. You shouldn't eat eggs. You should eat eggs. Like there's so many people trying to sell you their unique selling proposition. But like what you must understand is like there is no one size fits all, right? Try
Never.
it yourself. See if it works for you. If it doesn't, don't do it. If it does, keep on doing it. And I think that's the best way you should approach the gym. Always be open minded. Try what works best for you, because high volume could work for you, low volume could work for you. Eating eggs could work for you, not eating eggs would work for you. Until you try it yourself, you will never fucking know.
Yeah. Yeah. Keep on trying, be friendly, and listen to the More Than Fit podcast or
Yeah,
listen to
that's
the
it.
Harrison YouTube series. All right, Harrison, we are after 1 hour already. I think it's a nice podcast. First time in English. It went well,
Not,
right?
not,
I
not a bad
hope.
first podcast, if you ask me, mate.
Sorry.
Not a bad first podcast.
Yeah, for you. Yeah, yeah. I didn't even look at your YouTube channel. Oh yeah, you actually subscribed on mine. I saw yesterday. Yeah, so I will subscribe on yours also. Guys, if you like this podcast, if you like this YouTube series on my YouTube or on Harrison, drop a like, drop a follow, please. That's the only thing. We don't ask shit. We do this in our free time, and I hope you receive some value out of this conversation about us and about our journey in fitness and our journey in coaching. So the only thing that I ask is drop a like, drop a follow, drop a comment, or tell a friend. That's the only thing that we ask from you. It's like it will cost you like 3 clicks with your thumb, and you will help us enormously with tickling the algorithm, or maybe just tell a friend about it if you had some inspiration. So do you want to finish with anything else, Harrison? Where can we find you? Where can we find
Yeah,
you?
yeah. So Instagram, Harrison underscore Burgess.
Two
YouTube is
underscores.
two underscores. You can't forget the second
Okay.
one.
Okay.
YouTube Harrison Burgess, and I'm pretty sure that's my name. And yeah, just either hit up the Instagram and YouTube. That's where I'm the most active. So
Nice.
yeah, if you've got to the end of this podcast, you enjoy it, make sure you subscribe to Michael's account, make sure you subscribe to my account, and you give it a good fucking like.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, you can find me, of course, on Instagram, Michael underscore more than fit. And I think on YouTube, it's Michael van Straaten, if people understand. Straten, Straten. And thank you guys for listening and watching. And now I hope, Harrison, that your camera is recorded.
If it doesn't, right, if it doesn't, yours definitely recorded, and it should have recorded both of us.
Yeah.
So I might have to pinch it from you, mate. We might have to put
Okay,
it.
mate. I will press stop and we will see. Yeah.
You'll see.
Okay. Thank you for your time, amigo. Take care. Speak to you soon.
Cheers,
Joe.
guys.